I've been thinking more and more about what it means to be successful now that I am on the other half of my 30s. Just turned 37 last year. And I've been thinking about the things that we think are going to make us feel successful and happy and wonderful versus the things that actually make us feel successful, happy, and wonderful in life, and how those are not always the same things. And one of the first things that I came to realize is that we take life so seriously, especially in the beginning. I mean, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but how many of us have just spent so much time thinking about the opinions of others, thinking about the way others are perceiving them, and even if it's not a conscious thing, even if you're not consciously worrying about what others are thinking of you, you are making your decisions based on how you want to be perceived. Think about your childhood and growing up and how oftentimes our peers and our environments really shaped how we expressed ourselves and the things that we liked or didn't like. All that is a part of growing up, but you realize as you get older that all of the rules that we thought existed, especially within our culture, within our social circles, within even our educational experiences in school, even the rules that were taught in corporate, all of these rules are kind of made up. They're made to be broken, and they're not that serious. Um, Life itself isn't that serious. Life is designed to end. As soon as you are born, the second you breach the womb, you're immediately dying again, technically, because it's like disconnecting a fruit from its vine. You've been popped off of the mother vine, and so yeah, it sounds a little bit morbid. It sounds morbid, but we're all going to the same place. And that alone makes it less serious. And so when I think about all the rules that are placed on us, in, like I said, within our culture, within our school systems, within our societies and politics and global stuff, religion is a big part of that. And I think about the fact that we're all just coming here to have a human experience and we're all absolutely going to die. I think it's just not that serious. And we spend a lot of time obsessing over things that don't need to have our attention wasted on. And I bet you there are things that you can think of right now that you spent a lot of energy worrying about that didn't even happen, or that happened that the result was different than you thought it would be, or potentially better than you thought it would be, or actually turned out positively. Um, and I just wonder what we could do with our lives if we were able to harness all the energy that we wasted on things that didn't actually matter, which there are so many of those things. So yeah, life is not that serious. And I think that we should keep things in perspective. And honestly, I'm going to tell you something too. Psychedelics do help with that perspective. Psychedelics do help with putting things in proper perspective. If you remember the Men in Black, the little graphic at the end where it shows the Earth and then it shows the aliens keychain and then it shows them in a giant fishbowl and then it just keeps going layer. It makes you think, wow, how many layers does this go? How deep does the rabbit hole go? And when you have gone across a few layers of reality and seen a few things, which you can get to through in dream states and meditation and psychedelics, uh, you know, those would be the states you can get there in. But when you've seen a few of those layers of reality, you will start to look at the world differently, and hopefully it will make everything seem both tiny and huge at the same time. That's what it's done for me. It's made everything seem very, very small and very, very big at the same time. Because you realize too, one thing about infinity is that it works on both sides. So you can get infinity small and you can get infinity big. And really, the infinity small inside of us is just a mirror for the infinity big outside of us. Our cells are mirrored in the solar system and vice versa. And we're all just, it's all infinity up way, it's infinity up and infinity down. And, as above, so below, they say. And, uh, and when you have that perspective a few times and you see that in more ways than one, and you realize that you're just a small part of all this, and if you want to go even deeper, that, you are just God recognizing itself through an individual consciousness. When you realize that, it just makes it a little bit less stressful, and it makes it seem not so serious. Now, that's the first thing. But what's the flip side of this? The flip side is you shouldn't take life so seriously, but you should take yourself more seriously. I think there are the large majority of people out there who, it's not that you don't believe in yourself, but I think you just don't take yourself seriously enough. You don't take your own ideas seriously enough. You don't really believe that you have the raw potential or the right connections or luck, maybe even you could say, or the right combination of ingredients. Just you feel like you don't have the it factor, maybe, or you feel like you do have the it factor, but you don't know how to activate it. Lots of people feel like that. And you probably have a genius that's very unique to you that you either know about and you're scared to talk about or scared to practice, or it's a genius that you have yet to discover, but you haven't discovered it because you're not giving yourself the chance to go out there and learn about yourself and what you like and, what makes you happy. And so you don't take yourself seriously enough. And that's why you haven't been able to start the thing that you wanted to start or stick with the thing that you have wanted to do for a long time. And that probably comes from just fear. And there is a such thing as fear of success, which really revolves around all the changes you have to make if you were successful. And for some people, it could be the people you'd have to separate from if you were successful, or the place you'd have to go, or the way you'd have to work, or the person you have to become. You just get you get caught up in your head. A lot of this stuff is subconscious. So if you're like, oh, I've never thought about that, well, it's subconscious. That's the point. But so there is that, and then there's also just fear of failure, fear of looking stupid, fear of trying for something, going really hard for it, it doesn't work, and then, sorry, I'm burping. It doesn't work, and then you feel bad about yourself, and that sucks too. So, but this is what all successful people go through. Just so you know, this is what all successful people encounter: this inner battle of knowing that there's something that they want, fighting with the resistance to go out and go get it, dealing with all the consequences that come from getting the thing that you thought you said you wanted, and realizing that there's much more that you didn't even really consider. All of that is part of the game. And but you got to take yourself seriously. You have to, if you have a belief or an idea or a thought, you should treat it as important. And again, if you want to get spiritual with it, if you are an individual perspective of universal consciousness of God, then those thoughts that you're having in your head are there for a reason. And obviously, like, you're influenced by others, and you, like we were talking about at the beginning of the video, you're influenced by others, and you are affected by the world, and sometimes that will make you do things you wouldn't normally do. But also, you have an inner voice, and if you quiet yourself through, for instance, meditation, like we were talking about, and you really tap into that inner voice, you will be able to hear what it is that you need to hear, that you should be doing, that you should be focused on. And if it's been a while since you've listened to that inner voice, then you have to train yourself to listen again. It can be really hard because we have all this content that we're always plugged into, and all these different, apps and television and entertainment, always being entertained. But take yourself seriously enough to go after the things that interest you, because when you do that, guess what? You have a higher chance of being successful. People think that they are doing themselves a favor by not listening to their intuition or their heart or their inner knowing, their their inner guide. There's lots of things we can call it, but people think that they're doing themselves a favor. They're thinking to themselves, I'm being logical and I'm going to stick to the thing that I know will pay off, and I'm going to be logical and not go for the thing that I want, that I really, really want, because I'm being logical, and the logic will pay me dividends. You're doing it because you want to win. This is just the human nature, right? You're doing it because you think it's a better alternative. I'm here to tell you that you choosing something because you think you're playing defensively. If you're playing defensively and not going for what it is you want, what you truly want, you won't put your full energy and intention and life force behind the thing that you're really settling for or you're really using as a defensive mechanism. And so you might get good, and you might even get great, but you won't reach your potential. So what you're doing is you're sacrificing your big gift for the world for something that's definitely lower, but seems to be safer. And my argument is it's not safer. It's not safer to not go for the thing because there's no definitive timeline. It's not like, oh, well, I'll just do this for the first 40 years, and after that, then I'll switch to the other thing that I really want to do. No, you could be dead tomorrow. There's no rule about it. That's one thing as you get older too. In my later 30s, I've had several friends and family die, and it's like, oh man, it really just sucks, and it never gets easier. And so, but that also could be you, and so there's no rules to how life comes and goes. It really is a gift, and you should just do the thing. You should just do it now because there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. What is that? What show is that from? There is no tomorrow. Rocky. It's from Rocky. Anyway, that's it, guys. Stop taking life so seriously, but take yourself much more seriously because you deserve it. And the more seriously you take what it is you feel on the inside, the more likely you are to see that internal vision manifest externally. And people wonder why those who are able to manifest things, I didn't even know we were going to go into manifestation on this video, but people wonder why those who manifest things seem to do it more easily. And it's a lot of times it comes down to honestly just having a very clear vision of what you want and not being afraid to really live into that vision. And of course, there's all the work that goes into it. There's work in the physical world and there's busting your ass, but the vision has to stay strong. And when the vision stays strong, you have the energy and you have the follow through to be able to see a series of executions through. Vision is a really important component that starts internally, but then becomes external as you get other people to help you build that vision and you yourself participate in the building of it. Anyway, we're getting into the metaphysics now, and we don't have time for that. Look, I'm vlogging every day in this year in 2026. I can talk more about it later about why, but the main reason is just because I was happiest when I was writing all the time. And I think that's just because there's a constraint that forces you to think of something meaningful to try to say to the world when you know you're going to have to produce something every single day. And that just gets my juices flowing. There's a lot of people who would say, oh, you should just take your time and put out the best video possible. And I think that's important. But I really want to show myself that I can produce rapidly again, because when I was doing that, I felt the most alive. And I want to lean into that and allow for the possibilities to happen, whatever they may. So 365 in 2026. You have no choice. You're stuck with me, and I'm really not posting anywhere else. It's just YouTube, really. Occasionally, I'll post on IG and just remind people that I'm over here, but YouTube is the main platform. However, I will be sending out things to my email list privately. So if you want to get on that, you can go in the comments, the description below. Also, just introduce yourself in the comments. Like, I want to start talking to people who are watching these on a regular basis. I want to start talking to people who are in the community and who are specifically watching on YouTube, so that I can know what it is you want to have me talk about, and I'll keep posting stuff, seeing what you guys like, and we'll lean into what you guys are really feeling. And I also have some surprises coming very soon, launching some really good educational content this month. All right, talk to you soon. Peace.